There's going to be a lot of times in your life as a professional songwriter where you are asked or need to or want to write in a specific genre. So of course, the first thing that we need to do is to be able to understand what genre is and what are some of the key things to listen out for that really define one genre as opposed to another genre. So the first thing we're going to do is to define genre. So genre is a shared tradition or a set of conventions that can help us classify music together as related to one another, right? Like pieces of music related to one another. The shared tradition aspect of genre is so important that it's actually something that's really part of the study of music history and sociology. But for our purposes here, we're really going to focus on this idea of a set of conventions, which is to say certain elements and structural features of music that one would expect to hear in a particular genre. Okay, so let's dig in to certain aspects of conventions that you can listen out for in certain genres. So the first thing to listen out for is instrumentation. What we mean by instrumentation are really what are the featured instruments, what are the background instruments, and one of the things that can often define a genre is the balance or blend of acoustic, electric, and synthetic instruments. So for example, one of the things you'll hear characteristically in rock music, for example, or heavy metal, is the featured presence of electric guitars. In other genres, for example, country pop, which we're exploring in class this week, it's really the blend of acoustic instrumentation and synthetic or electric instrumentation that creates that country plus pop vibe that gives us country pop. The second thing you can listen out for is harmonic complexity. What do we mean by harmonic complexity or simplicity? Well, the first thing we mean is whether or not the chords in the song are diatonic or non-diatonic. So diatonic really means using only the 7 chords that are in a major key, for example. And usually we don't even get the diminished chord. Usually it's a combination of the 6 chords, right? 1 through 6 in a key center. In terms of harmonic complexity, pop music, for example, is relatively harmonically simple. Right, there's lots of other things going on in terms of production and song form and lyrics and stuff, but harmonically, it's pretty simple. Or we might hear non-diatonic chords, right? We're in a key, but there's chords being borrowed outside the key. And in certain genres, that's going to be archetypical, right? That's going to be something that really is characteristic of that genre. So jazz is one of those, for example. In certain genres of country, you're going to hear that as well. So country music can borrow some chords from the parallel minor when we're in a parallel major. That can be characteristic of that genre. So listen out for the harmonic complexity. The other thing we mean by harmonic complexity is even the chords, how the chords themselves are played. Are they played as basic triads, which might be characteristic of genres like folk, rock, and pop? Or do we use tensions and sevenths and sharp nines and flat fifths, right? That's going to be characteristic of genres like jazz or big band or what else might, even R&B and soul and some of those genres which are branches off jazz will use more harmonic complexity inside the chords themselves. The other thing to listen for in terms of harmony are modes. Now, some genres are really defined by a particular mode. So one of the things we talked about in our second trimester was how the Mixolydian mode is a mode that is favored by certain genres like gospel, bluegrass, like country rock, right? There are certain genres that really lean on those modes, and you can pick that up in your listening. And to make something sound even more authentically like it belongs to that genre, lean on the same modes. A fourth thing that you want to listen for is song form. In a lot of pop genres, you're going to see a lot of choruses and hooks. Occasionally you'll see bridges, but not all the time. And a lot of the time, like 80 to 90% of the time, when you listen to charting pop songs on iTunes or Spotify or Apple Music or whatever, you're going to hear some variation of the verse, chorus, bridge, chorus song form. Now there might be a pre-chorus, or there might be, you know, half bridge and half pre-chorus into the last chorus, or a repeating last chorus, but all those things are merely variations of that same basic pop form. As opposed to other genres like folk music or progressive rock, where you're going to hear other song forms. You might hear AAA song forms, which are really called strophic song forms, which means it's just one section that repeats. That's actually really characteristic of hymnal music, right? Like church music or church songs. Amazing Grace is a really classic example of an AAA song. There is no chorus, there is no bridge, there's nothing other than this one verse section that repeats over and over again. So song form can be really indicative of genre, okay? Another thing, tempo and vocals. Certain genres are really defined by certain tempos. Dance music, techno, EDM, house music, that's all going to be fairly up-tempo, right? It's going to be between about 115 and 130 beats per minute. Other genres are going to have much wider tempo variation, but nevertheless, listening to the tempo, particularly if you've got some reference songs to listen to, can tell you something about the energy or the overall vibe of that song, and something that's characteristic or definitive of that genre or subgenre. What I mean by vocals or vocal approach, okay? How is it being sung, right? Is it belted? Is it very conversationally sung? Sometimes that can really tell you something about genre. A lot of pop music or R&B or soul has quite a lot of belting or vocal riffing, which is almost completely absent from something like folk music, right? Or even like singer-songwriter. In terms of vocal approach, also listening to whether there are choral aspects, right? Is it just a solo voice, or are there groups singing? So again, if you are writing something like a church song or gospel or even bluegrass, is really defined by 4-part vocals, you know? So if you're trying to get that out, it's interesting and important to pay attention to what kind of vocals and how many vocals there are. One final thing to listen for is lyric, theme, and style. Certain topics and themes, again, are going to be favored by certain genres. Of course, pop loves, romance, love, breakup, hardship, friendship, growing up, growing old, the gaining of wisdom, lessons hard learned, celebration. Other sort of themes and topics might feature into other genres. Grief and loss might feature more heavily in, say, country music, for example. Or even rock and roll. But you don't hear a lot of pop songs that are about grief and loss, interestingly. It doesn't define the genre. But more than just topic or theme, really listen for the type of language that's used in the lyric. Is it conversational and simple? Or is the language abstract and imagistic? Is the song narrative? Does it tell a story in a sequential or chronological series of events? Or is it situational and then mostly emotional? So listening out for those aspects of the lyric is going to help you understand genre. Listen out for point of view, which is to say the pronouns used. If you listen to the top 10 in any pop genre or subgenre of pop, you're going to identify that there's a real predominance of a particular point of view. And what that is, is a lot of first person pronoun, I, me, my, mean, mine, and a lot of you. So a lot of pop songs are me and you, or I and you, right? Some of them are me and her or me and him, but very few comparatively. And you get almost no third person narrative songs in the top 10. Often when you listen to someone's complete album, there'll be a couple there. But it's interesting, again, if you're writing to a specific genre, to identify what are the pronouns used, and even what are the tenses. What are the tenses used? Is it present tense, past tense, multi-tenses? That can also tell you something really important about what a music publisher might be looking for when they're seeking something in a particular genre. So hopefully those categories are helpful to you in terms of your listening, and I'll post a couple of examples as well that will help you listen even closer. Okay, thanks guys.